I'm at the boat site, the boat and words of animals, and it looks like maybe some fishies, wolves, and the geeses, but there's animals. And this topic will be about narcissists versus regular creeps, I guess, for lack of a better word. This is going back a day on my homework here, but I still need to do it. So, if you feel anxious and needy around a certain person, could be a stranger, suddenly shows up, and it's suddenly out of nowhere, you feel this anxiousness and neediness toward the person, and it can happen towards males, females, classes, types, etc. It does not discriminate. It just depends on your anxious, avoidant attachment and inner child fixations, wounds, and hang-ups, the level of interference that occurs, psychological and I guess in body, feeling. So I have been looking, and I was just trying to get it in order here, that okay, I'm going to try my best. So you could be similar a bit to, this is going to be discursive, you could be similar to a romantic, which is a little different, however, because a romantic definition is where romantic-like experience is sentiently felt but is avoided when reciprocated. And I've changed this definition, but it's the same. So you sentiently feel romantic, like an attraction, or you think the person's cute, or you like their quality, or you just feel good around, like there's an attraction, a romantic, I mean, the candle lights are going off in your head, maybe, I don't know, where there's the romantic-like experience and sentiently feeling, but you avoid it when it is reciprocated to you. And that's also often the case in limerent chronicities. Limerence is sort of something developed in very traumatized attachment styles as a child, where we need the love and belonging, so we develop infatuations with our type that we like, the preferent type of person we like. I mean, in the romantic senses, attraction wise, and it's like a fantasy in the mind. You can see your future playing out, what you would do, how many kids you're gonna have, where you're gonna live, like what your wedding will look like. Like, you can go through all of this, maybe not at once, maybe it takes months to go through the whole spiel, but in the mind, but it happens, and everybody does the limerent thing differently, where there's a fantasy, idealism, obsessive like attraction, but a complete fear or phobia if or when reciprocated by the other person. And it becomes so much that the more you like the person, the more they just push you away, bully, tease, like antagonize you. Like the attraction is all purposes of the attraction. Magnetism has been defeated by liking somebody and something so much that you give them that creep feeling. So you could have gone through the creep energy stage yourself, but a lot of times limerents come out of that and they get stable, more secure, attached to their own self and their own energy, where they can not give up that creepiness. But we all have our creeps, okay? So for the purpose of this, it's about the ones coming at us. So you can feel an anxious neediness because somebody's creep energy I'm not gonna call them creeps. It's just misguided energy. They want something so much. Maybe they're after something. They want your attention. They want your connection or your presence or your accompaniment, or maybe they're worse and they want, things they shouldn't be wanting. And whatever they want something, and you can feel that neediness, and it's creepy. And if it suddenly comes out of nowhere towards you, regardless of who it is, it can affect your attachment style, where you get you feel an obligation, something that just won't let you go about it. And you could be a little bit similar to the romantic, which is a little different, however, because I'm following the words again, in that you may subconsciously be attracted to this abuser type. You may get it so often that it feels like a predator and an abuse type to you. Or you could have done enough work and realized that you are vulnerable to certain types. Maybe you are empathic, and these are dark personalities that are coming after you to use or take advantage. But you could be attracted to them regardless of how much you know that they are wrong for you, and you can't understand the attraction because you were conditioned as a child through psychic, spiritual, soul dualities with this type of abuser, and it's just recreating in your life cycles that you're stuck on the default of that attraction. You can change this, but you are consciously screaming. So you're subconsciously attracting that and going through that. Don't know why, but you are consciously screaming in the mind, spirit, bells and whistles. Hell no, not on this planet Earth do I want this person. Stay away from me. Usually it gets that bad if you've gone through it again and again, and no matter how much you push it away, they keep. The more you resist it internally, like they reach out harder, they actually talk to you, they actually come by, they want to, it's like they're stealing your energy. It's just horrible. And I'm kind of meshing that now. So whereas they could be just a creep in the beginning, or creepy, or let's use better words, weird energy, spooky science. So yeah, if they look like that, or they are actually a dark personality type, they could be the narcissist. So I'm gonna try to explain a little bit each. So a demisexual attraction would be if you have these childhood wounds, traumas, hang-ups. You might need a deep emotional, spiritual connection bond before you feel comfortable with or even desire a sexual attraction to be developed. Maybe you want that, but you won't allow it to manifest until you feel something more, like your spirit needs something more. And of course, we all want to be respected and valued for our core, right? Not just superficial looks and hi, how are you? Let's, go to some place. Yuck. So you need that deeper bond or connection, something deep in common, one of your passions, or you will feel little or no sexual attraction at first, or it could be allosexual, the complete opposite. You are paid attention to by a creep or a narcissist, and all of a sudden you're like, la 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 la, experiencing psychological sexual attraction readily, like you're just ready to be scooped up by anybody who comes along, because your standards have been trampled so low that you just are starved for something and you don't recognize the predators at first. There's many levels and stages to this. So this usually, but all of this always usually involves lust demonics of Jezebel and Ahab spirits and the dark triunes of familiar spirits, and they're attacking the inner core childhood wounds. They are actually preying on your inner child wounds, the vulnerabilities. They can see it, predators see it, or if they are also subconscious but yet attracted to that type of energy, they just are like magnets to it. So you can't blame a metal flying towards a magnet, because that's what these things do. However, you don't have to be the human magnet and the victim of such a thing. They are attacking your inner childhood wounds and or using stronghold yoked soul ties from bloodline curses in your past, so your generational curses that are still on you. So these sexual childhood wounds of your ancestors are still running psychologically, genetically in your bloodline and haven't been cut off yet. Or you have formed your own sexual stronghold yokes through sexual relations or spoken agreements of any kind, of word spells, casting, ignorant spoken words and agreements, or entrenched beliefs. So beliefs you've started creating, the irreconciliations, the irreconcilable things of the psyche that pardon me, the egos cannot reconcile with the higher mind and the soul. There's things that you become polar opposite in your own self about since childhood. So you're like, my parents didn't love me, so I'm never lovable, and now I'm never lovable, I'm gonna give myself to everybody just so that I can prove that I'm not lovable. Like you come up with these beliefs since childhood. Sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't, until it's too late and it's already begun happening in adult life or even earlier, which is terrible. But once you start going through it, you start thinking back and you remember these agreements, or hopefully you have guidance that will help you remember these agreements, and you can put an end to them and change your magnetism in life, and hopefully get educated and informed. So then there's sapiosexuality, which is a high sexual attraction to intelligent people. So this could also be one of your issues. You haven't got attention, you've been starved of nurture, and you got a lot more nature going on there and conditioned onto you and forced upon you. So you are more stuck in your emotion mammalian brain, and like your dinosaur brain is telling you, I'm highly sexually attracted, I just in love with, or I just love intelligent people, I just love it when I have amazing conversations with thinkers or whatever, and you're attracted to that, and that would be your go-to type of thing, which would give you that demisexual bond that you need, if that's your need, unless you just fall into it or you are scooped up. So if you fall into it yourself through allosexuality, or you're scooped up and you're preyed upon. So if it's anxious, creepy, so if you feel anxious and you feel creeped or weirded or perturbed or just off or ick or whatever's the words, to any degree of any of these attraction types mentioned, it's most probably just an inner child wound, a mother-father wound issues, and maladaptized attachment styles. But if it's anxious, creepy, and invokes inner anger, powerlessness, a sense of manipulation, invisible spiritual coercion or control, and you suddenly are obsessed yet inwardly screaming. You are obsessed in those ways. You have that attraction back. You can't understand why you want that dynamic, but yet just all this is going on, and sometimes it could be repressed, and that's going on, so you could have, you know, those explosive rage stages that you have yet to go through, or you are you could have become more cognizant of your interpersonality and your emotionality and your spirituality and your, I had a word for psychologicality. I don't have it now. Anyways, long time ago. Whatever it is. But you're aware of all these things, and yet so you're still screaming, and you just hate it, and you loathe it, and you can't stand it, and you want it to stop, but you can't get it to, and your inner critic is like, but I'm attracted. So you're like hard on yourself, and you haven't distanced and forgiven yourself that you are not your inner critic, you are not your ego, you are not those formations of conditioning. But yet this is all going on, and it's like the whirlwind of chaos in the mind and the sexuality, and God help the people who are just coming into sexuality and going through this, and they don't know who they are, and then they're told who they're not and who they are and who they could be and shouldn't be, and oh my Jesus. But anyways, so if all that's going on, it's most probably a narcissistic type at play, because there's several narcissistic types. So dependent on your early childhood attachment styles and wounds, you're going to have your own certain narcissistic types, or your general creeps. I hope that gives a little bit information on the difference between magnetizing creeps versus narcissists.